Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. Right away, you've probably noticed something a little bit weird. She's standing up. Yeah, today we're going to do a standing practice. So, this practice is going to be really fantastic as a change of pace for those of you who do yoga all the time, but also a really great one for people who have blood pressure issues, whether it's high or low. Sometimes all the up and down stuff can make you feel not great in yoga. This is also going to be a really suitable practice for those of you who might be pregnant, right? Prenatal yoga, which is wicked. And as I said, for those of you who do yoga all the time, it'll just be a cool little change of pace. We will end on the floor, though, so don't worry, you don't have to do Shavasana standing up. So take a couple of moments just to shake it all out. Maybe get into your shoulders. Oh boy, mine feel tight today. Or a little twist. And then feet about, hip width apart. You just want a comfortable standing position, maybe even one where you can close your eyes. Now, if that feels wobbly or shaky or, kind of dizzy, then you could find a hand on a wall, or maybe you just flicker your eyelids open and take a single point of focus for your eyes on the wall in front of you. And then for a couple of breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. A couple more. And continue breathing here however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Sometimes this focus on the breath can be really interesting when we change our physical position. How does your breath feel different as you're standing compared to when you might be seated or lying down? How does it feel the same? Notice how your breath is flowing. Maybe it feels really smooth and spacious. Maybe it's sticky or choppy. You could try to lengthen through those choppy parts if you want. Or maybe you just notice. Sometimes even the mere action of noticing or observing the breath causes it to smooth out. Last couple of breaths here. And then maybe even keeping your eyes closed. Start to shift your weight a little bit in your feet. A little micro bend or even a deeper bend in the knees here can help with your balance, particularly if you've kept your eyes closed. Maybe you draw circles on your feet here. Maybe you're just shifting side to side and forward and back. The cool thing is you're already standing, so if you feel like you're going to fall, you can catch yourself, right? Last couple moments here, right? Just really playing with this shift of focus. Maybe you start to flick your eyelids open if they're still closed. Shake everything out. Arms, legs. Let's do some hip circles. Bend in the knees, hands on hips. Start to rotate one direction and then the other. I don't know why I forgot about these. Lately they just feel so good. And let's take a gentle twist from side to side. If you have, a baby in there, you're probably aren't going to be twisting super deep, at least not through the abdomen. The twist might just be in the upper chest. If you don't, then go ahead and twist a bit deeper. And then come back to center. Okay, so bring your feet hip width apart again, and then look down. Can you de-weight all 10 toes? I don't know, maybe not. Let's see how it goes. So lift all 10 toes if you can, and then flare the toes as wide as you can. Maintaining that, can you feel that little lift in the arch of the feet here, right? In the arches of the feet, or the arch of the foot, I guess is more technically correct. And then bring your pinky toes down, keep your other toes lifted. Little drop belly button to spine, little micro bend in the knees. Can you bring the big toes down, keep the middle 3 toes lifted? Maybe you can't. That's okay. This is super weird and gnarly and it's all right. But we're just looking for that little lift in the arch of the foot. Maybe you bring the rest of your toes down if they're not already there. Can try and maintain that little lift in the arch of the foot. Okay, on your next inhale, sit down and back into chair pose. So particularly for prenatal yoga, I really like chair pose with the legs apart. If it feels okay for you to take the feet together, then go ahead and do that. But this just gives you a little bit more space, gives the hips a bit more stability. Tailbone down slightly, just so you feel the belly button kind of lift. Shoulder blades on the back, long through the spine, send the knees out. And then bring your arms to cactus. And same thing, we're just gonna shift here, side to side, forward and back, doing circles. It might start to feel like, ooh, you're on skis or you're doing moguls. But that's okay. We're just firing up the glutes, firing up the hamstrings, the proprioceptors in the feet, the calves, quads. Now I'm just listing muscles. And then come on back up, shake it out a little bit. And then grab your left wrist, bend your knees a little bit, and start to pull across your body. You might bend the knees a little bit more. You might round through the spine a little bit more, depending on where you need to go. But the idea is that you're getting into the back, but more along the side, right? A bit more distal. And then inhale, come back up. Keep breathing the whole time. And let's go the opposite direction. Grab your right wrist and reach over to the left. Again, you might be up high if you just want to get into the shoulders. That feels really good. Maybe you bend your knees a little bit more, round through the spine a little bit more. You can also do this if you have a counter that you can grab onto, and then you don't have to work quite so hard. You get a little bit more traction through your spine. And then inhale, come back up. All right, so feet about hip width apart-ish. Little bend in the knees. I want you to go ahead and squeeze your butt as hard as you can. Like imagine you are turning your glutes, right, your butt muscles into diamonds. Keep squeezing, keep breathing. We're gonna be here for a couple more seconds. I haven't been counting, I've just been talking. Okay, let go, shake it out a little bit, get a little bit of movement back, and then let's go back into it. Squeeze your butt, and then keep breathing, right? Squeeze your butt as hard as you can. And it's not something that I normally cue, but firing up the glute muscles can help protect the low back, particularly if you're feeling sway, if you're expecting, or if your low back is tight these days. Okay, let it go, shake it out. And then one last time, squeeze your butt hard as you can, about 10 seconds here. And this is one trick that my massage therapist gave to me. This is an easy way to fire up the glutes. You might even do it like 10 times a day. Okay, shake it out and get a little wiggle, a little shake, maybe go a little bit crazy. Woo! All right, come back to feet hip width apart. On your inhale, sit into your chair pose again. So maybe this is feeling a little bit easier, possibly, now that we've fired up the glutes. Knees out, we'll fire up the glutes even more. Bring your arms to cactus. Inhale here. On your exhale, tuck your tailbone around through the spine. Maybe you stay up high, maybe you come down a bit lower. Inhale, lift back up into chair, and exhale, round. And depending on how much space you have in front of you, you might be doing more or less flexion. One more. Inhale, come back up. Pause here, sit a little bit deeper. Hips back so that when you look down, you can see your toes. And then stand up again. Shake it out a little bit. All right. I guess most of you are at the top edge of your mat. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. You might just turn your mat to face the video now. And then let's take a nice wide stance. Nothing too crazy. Toes pointed out. So a little bit of Tai Chi inspired movement of Chi, movement of breath. They're very similar backgrounds way back thousands of years, right? It's just about movement of energy, prana or Chi, whatever you want to call it. So on your inhale, bring your palms up to your chest. On your exhale, start to squat. Press your palms away from you. Inhale, flip the palms up, draw them all the way overhead. Exhale, press the palms down, come back into your squat. Palms go all the way down. Inhale, lift the palms up, bring the hands to the chest. Exhale, squat. Press the arms out to the side. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale, squat down. Couple more of these. Inhale, lift. Exhale, out through your mouth even, if you want to. Inhale all the way up. And exhale down through the middle. Inhale to the center. Exhale out to the side. Inhale all the way up. And exhale down. One last time. Inhale to the center. Exhale out to the side. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down through the center. And then pause here in your squat. Okay, make sure the knees aren't caving in. Send them out to the baby toe edges of your feet. You can use your hands for support here. Absolutely, right? Even really bracing the weight of your upper body on your thighs if you wish. Maybe you're doing a bit more of the stoic yogi thing. That's okay. Try not to be sitting way upright, right? Stick your booty back. You can take a little sway from side to side here, but the idea is that we're still just holding the squat, getting the glutes fired up a little bit more. Last couple breaths here. Right, wherever you need to be. And then inhale, come all the way up to center. Shake it out a little bit. Turn your toes back out. Inhale into the squat. This time, let's all bring our hands to the thighs. So we're going to use this for support, but also for a little stretch. So start to dip your right shoulder forward, twist to the left. Right, again, as gentle or as deep of a twist as you need. Really press your right palm into the right thigh, getting into the adductors here, and then back to center, and then dip the left shoulder. I don't know why this feels so 80s to me, like Jane Fonda, who is awesome. Right shoulder forward, and then back to center. Last time, left shoulder forward. Your quads might be barking at you, your glutes might be barking, that's okay. And then inhale, come all the way up. Heel into the feet back together. Shake out your legs, and then a couple breaths. Eyes open or closed, hands might be at your side, or in prayer at your heart. Let's let the heart rate settle a little bit. Let the breathing rate settle a little bit. And then flicker your eyelids open. Shake it out again. And let's come back to that wide stance. This time, depending, you might take the feet a little bit wider, but I want your feet parallel or even slightly turned in. When we come into this wide leg forward fold, this is going to be a lot easier on the ankle and knee joints if the feet are parallel or slightly turned in. If you have blocks or a coffee table in front of you, then you'll have something to aim for. Little bend in the knees, belly button to spine, start to shift your hips back, and then come into your forward fold. Now, you might be up super high these days, and that's okay. Maybe you have blocks to bring underneath your hands. Maybe wide leg forward fold is your superpower, and you feel like reaching your hands behind you or bringing your hands to your ankles or your toes. Wherever you are, try to avoid the temptation of pressing the feet wider though. And if anything, think of hugging the legs back toward each other and then spiraling the upper thighs back slightly. Little micro bend or even a deep bend in the knees. The more you bend your knees, the more you're going to get into the glutes a little bit here. So, you know, go where you need to go. Option to stay here or bring your right hands to the floor or to a block underneath your face. And then inhale, lift the left arm out to the side. So nice sort of windmill twist, big open twist. And then exhale, come back to center, bring the left palm to the floor or to a block. Inhale the right arm high and exhale down. Once more each side. Inhale up, exhale down. Last time. And then back to center. Okay, for a couple breaths with fingertips to the floor underneath your shoulders or on blocks. Inhale, little partway lift. So what this should do is help equalize the blood pressure before we come up. Exhale, fold. 2 more. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Last one. Okay, option to heel into the feet in first and then stand up, or bring your elbows or your hands to your hips, rather, elbows high, hug the legs toward each other, and inhale, come all the way up to standing. And then do the little hoedown. Heel into the feet in, shake it out a little bit, and then again, a couple breaths here. Let the heart rate settle, let the blood pressure settle. I promise that's the only up, down, sort of stuff that we'll do. And then flicker your eyelids open. Take a wide stance again, but this time we're going to turn the right toes towards the short edge of the mat. Back foot's turned slightly in. So a warrior 2 stance. Now you could be heel to heel or heel to arch. Heel to heel is going to give you a little bit more space in the pelvis. And then sink into that front knee, bend the back knee as well, stick your booty back, get a little wiggle on, a little shake, a little twist, like we did last summer. Just mobilizing through the hips. And then eventually start to sink into that front knee. Now, you never, ever, ever have to go into the full, thigh parallel to the earth thing. Ever. Go where it feels best for you. But can you think of hugging your legs back toward each other, right? And drive through the back heel, squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh, right? As if you're on ice skates. You don't want to push the feet away. You want to be stable here. Maybe you look along that front leg. Maybe you float the arms out to the side. This back arm has a tendency to drift forward, so try to bring it right in line. Elbows could be bent or palms up, or maybe it just feels better to rest your palms on your heart. You could play with eyes closed. And then flip the front palm up. Inhale, sweep over exalted warrior. Couple breaths here. Back hand on the hip will give you a bit more support. And then inhale back to center. Gently straighten that front leg. Shake it out a little bit. And then heel and toe your back foot in. So it's a shorter stance. Go heading into a triangle pose. Hug the legs toward each other without locking out the knees. So there's still a little buoyancy on those knees. Belly button to spine. Shift your hips back. Imagine that someone's got a rope pulling your hips back. And as soon as that happens, the upper body tilts forward. Now you might just stay up nice and high today. You could hover it out. If you want to go a bit deeper, scoop that front hip back and under so that you don't have your femur hitting your hip socket. And then maybe you go into a more traditional variation of triangle if you wish. Top arm can be wherever. You don't have to look up. Keep hugging the legs toward each other. Keep spiraling those upper left ribs up to the sky. And then hug the legs toward each other. Inhale, come all the way back up. Shake it out. Step back to a nice, just neutral standing position. Again, couple breaths, eyes open or closed. Feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. Excuse me. Okay, last time standing, I guess. I mean, we've been standing the whole time. Let's move into the opposite side. So wide stance. but this time left toes point out to the side. Right? You might need to adjust the length of your stance. Sometimes one side needs a longer stance than the other, but go ahead and bend both knees. Shift your booty back, get that little wiggle on, little shake, right? And it can feel so different from one side to the other. Like when this leg is forward for me, it feels tight. That's why I really like getting into this sort of movement. It starts to feel like maybe it's a bit rude, but that's okay. Sink into that front knee and then supercharge the back leg towards straight, right? Hugging the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. Again, can you de-weight the big toe on the back foot so you're not rolling into the arch of the foot? Sink into that front knee as much as feels good, right? You could just be having a very small bend, or maybe you're all the way down at parallel. Couple breaths here. Arms can be wherever they need to be. Make sure when you look down at that front knee that you can see your big toe, that the knee isn't caving in. And then flip the front palm up. Inhale, sweep over the back leg, exalted warrior. Again, any arm variation of your choice. Keep hugging the legs toward each other. I know it's a lot of work. Last breath here. Good, inhale, come back. And then gently straighten the front knee. Little wiggle or shake. Heel and toe. The back foot in slightly. So again, setting up for triangle. Hug the legs toward each other. Belly button to spine. Start to shift your hips back, which makes the upper body tilt forward. I think you can stay here, hovering it out, really getting into the obliques. If you'd like to deepen it, scoop the front hip under and back, but keep opening, spiraling. Those top ribs open to the sky. Right, go wherever you need to go. I didn't demo with a block on the first side, but having a block gives you tons of support here. Last couple breaths. Little micro bend on the knees. Hug the legs toward each other. Both sides long, or as long as you can. And then hug the legs toward each other. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Oh, shake it out. Come on back to that Tadasana, or neutral standing position. For 3 breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. Last one. And then flick your eyelids open. Take your feet shoulder width apart. If you're facing the top edge of your mat, then maybe mat width apart. Toes turned out slightly. And on your inhale, come all the way down for Malasana, or a deep squat. This might not be where you want to be today, which is fine. You can rest your elbows on your knees or thighs. You can take a supported variation if you'd like to, with a block or a pillow, or even a low chair underneath your hips. Otherwise, a few more breaths. Stay here with me. Stay in it. You've got this. Wrap your shoulder blades onto your back. Little lift, so if you had to stand up, you could. And then it's never graceful. Just come down to seated however you want to, whether it's bringing your hands behind you or coming down to hands and knees first, and then sweeping the legs forward. Shake out the thighs, the legs a little bit. Little windshield wiper for the knees. And in fact, I actually meant to go to hands and knees, so let's go. Sorry, let's go to hands and knees. Get a little quad stretch. I'm going to use some padding underneath my left knee. And if you're using padding, bring your knee all the way up to the top edge of that padding. And then step or sweep the right foot forward. And then we're going to cross it in front of the left knee. So a figure 4 stretch from kneeling. Make sure your toes are pressing into the floor. The heel is high, like on the same line as your femur. And this might be enough for you. If you would like a little bit more, shift your hips back, walk your upper body forward. Now I'm probably going out of the frame of the camera here, but that's okay. I can show you from the side. I'm just bowing into this as much as feels good. I really like this variation of figure 4 for prenatal yoga because you're not on your back, So if that's not comfortable, then great. And you don't have to balance. Gives you a little bit more space. Last breath here. And then walk yourself back up. You can use your hands to unwind that leg, come back to center, a little wiggle or shake. And if you're using the padding, switch it to underneath the right knee, and then step or sweep the left foot forward, and then again cross it in front of the right thigh. So toes to the floor, heel high, knee out to the side, maybe you stay up, or shift the hips back and bow forward into the pose. A few more breaths here. And then slowly walk your hands back, unwind your legs, come to hands and knees, little wiggle, or shake, or cat and cow. And then as we move through cat and cow here, think about where you would like to go for your rest. You could end in a seated position, a seated meditation. You could lie down on your back or on your side. You might prop a bunch of pillows underneath your back so that you're propped up. Go wherever you need to go, wherever you'll feel comfortable. And there's no rush to get there. But once you have found your pose of rest for a few breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And then let go of your breath control. Return to your natural breath. Notice how it feels. Is it different now from at the start? Maybe it feels the same. Maybe you can't tell, and that's fine. Notice if you're holding any last muscle gripping or tension, maybe in the neck or the jaw or the face. And if so, try to let that go a little bit more as well. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And then take a moment to thank yourself for coming to the mat today, for giving your body this time to move and to breathe, to get a little bit more space, a little bit more strength. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.